This is Elkavash, storyteller, with Vero, Sagacious Hand, Culture Shock as Arthur Shasta, Tamer as Tarala, Auric and Plucky Hero as Kalis Kodan. This is the Invictwitch crew. Hello, good morning, or good evening even. How is everybody today?
I'm doing well.
Ready for a battle.
I'm not looking forward to the fact that pretty much all day tomorrow is moving, but, you know, I'll be looking forward to the after the move effect.
After the move effect. Sleeping.
Yeah, you know, where it's drinking and games.
Hey. Are we right to head straight in?
Are we?
Are we?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we should talk about or think about before as players?
Let's just say tonight is your night, bro. Tonight
Well,
is
how
your
about I
night,
very
bro.
quickly ask the players to say what happened last session?
Last session.
The folder's going.
Last session, we have attended the ball at the
Dinner.
At the dinner.
It was a dinner.
The dinner, not a ball.
It was not
a
a
dinner.
ball. We made it a ball, but it was a dinner.
We attended the dinner. Jonas arrived with Onfalad as his date for the evening. To which Tarala has gone, oh yeah, let's see about that. And Arthur Shasta, who was quite excited and flustered, started talking to her. And getting help from the sidelines, somehow.
She desperately needed.
Okay, so yes, so for the viewers, anyone who's joining us on Twitch, thank you very much for joining us live. For those of us who are following on, I'm sorry it's taken so long to get all the videos up, but I've had some computer changes and things, and the data is saved on a different drive, and I'm working on getting that fixed up for everybody. So the pertinent events that happened last episode. Crew. Get it? Wow. The crew got together and they have, in preparation for fighting Legion ghosts that are the Realm Legion ghosts, to Kaldor to exact their revenge on Marcus for having handily defeated them. Yes, Kalis?
Is anybody else getting Elk's audio cutting in and out?
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was actually that was just on my end, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like.
Hey, if I change the setting, you might start reverbing. Gonna have to put up with the reverb then. Sorry. Is that better?
Testing, testing. Is there any cutout? Seems that it might have gotten a little better.
As in, no, there's no cutout, or no, there's.
I don't hear any cutout.
Yeah, there's no cutout as far as I know.
Back with it. Alright. Okay, cool. So you're not getting cut out now.
No, cloud and clear.
Loud and clear. Anyway, so let's get moving. So the group attended the dinner at Kaldor, met everybody. There was a bit of a song and dance as the idea of the melodious melee was fielded by Sagacious Hand, backed up by Kalis and Tarala. Lots of singing and everyone singing. Great time. Arthur Shasta being led out the door by the hand by Onfalad. Leaving Jonas alone. Bit of egg on his face. And so this night has been one of mostly jubilation. And that is where we start today. So, each of you have spent the last night leaning back into some finding elation, frivolity, while others look deeper into. Rala, your night has been troubled. Being faced once again by your traitorous uncle, feelings muddied with the odd behaviour of Sagacious Hand, trusted friend and confidant. Whatever sleep you did manage to steal from the night was tortured. Waking up in sweats at least five times, the same recurring dream etched into your memory. The terror of that last meal, the horror of the aftermath, and the heat of your second breath focused on us. Looking down at the sword in your hand, stolen from the grip of the usurper forces, etched with the Maker's mark of striking ball peen. The longer you stare, the hotter the blade becomes in your hands until, finally, bursting from the veil of sleep, snap up in your bed, snap up in your bed and live with the searing pain lancing across your palm. Nothing is there upon inspection. No scar, no mark. Memory intensified every.
Did you guys lose me?
Sorry?
Lost. Oh.
Did you guys lose my camera?
Just the camera.
Lordy Lord.
Gotcha.
Is it still hitting out drop a little bit, or is it just me?
It was just a little bit. I turned off the other Discord thing. Sorry. I think though that mine felt like it was on my end because that's when I noticed my camera vanish. I'm like, oh crap.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. You were mentioning you got. I heard the nightmares awoken 5 times, and the blade turning white hot in the dream.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so as I was saying, Tarala, your night has been troubled. Being faced once again by your traitorous uncle, the feelings muddied with the odd behaviour of the friend, and whatever sleep you did manage to steal from the night, waking up in sweats at least 5 times, same recurring dream etched into the terror of that last meal, the horror of the aftermath, the heat of your second breath focused on it. Looking down at the sword in your hand, stolen from the grip of the usurper forces and etched with the Maker's mark, striking ball. The longer you stare, the hotter the blade becomes in your hand until, finally, bursting from the veil of sleep, snap up in your bed and live with the searing pain land. Nothing is there upon inspection.
Step up from my bed and what?
Sorry.
Are we still cutting out?
Yeah.
And it's right there.
The rest of that sentence was gone.
It seems
It's not coming out in the
5
recording,
to
so
10
this is going to sound really weird, but I'll try and something. One moment.
I think it's like every 5 to 10 words. I can't work out if it's like a bandwidth or still a threshold issue.
The threshold issue.
Oop.
Sorry, man. Because I'm just like, I'm trying to,
Hey, look, it's only frustrating because we're like, okay, we've got this
Is that
in
better?
the full hour before we start. Nope.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so now I have a lot of stuff in front of my screen. This is what I was trying to avoid. So looking down at the sword in your hand. Wow, this has lost all dramatic emphasis whatsoever. This is just. Looking down at the sword in your hand, stolen from the grip of the usurper forces, and etched with the Maker's mark of striking ball peen. The longer you stare, the hotter the blade becomes in your hand until, finally, bursting from the veil of sleep, you snap up on your bed and live with the searing pain lancing across your palm. Nothing is there upon inspection. No scar, no mark, but the memory intensifies with every winter pain. Sagacious Hand. Your night has been cathartic. Indirectly spurned by Arthashasta, the final straw collapses the delicately built peace that you have so desperately been cowering under. True to your word, Jonathan is led from the castle with his father's blessing down into the bright torch light of the Excelsior. Never before have you looked upon your creation and seen what so many critics have described as a debaucherous den of degenerates. But tonight, there is a different glint to your eye. The potential of it. So many people here packed together with a symphony of skills and talents, ready to dance on invisible strings, tugged and pulled with but a passing of your whim. Suffice to say that, while the sensibilities of your other half and Jonathan himself were never tarnished, the line had never been trod so rigorously, especially not in so fine a pair of boots. Everyone still hearing me?
Yeah.
Kalis, your night has been thoughtful. With no way of orchestrating the subtleties of the melodious melee yourself, Righteous Lotus is dragged into the forefront to field the bubbling questions and excitement that you evoked in the dinner guests. Drifting through the throng, it is a quiet moment you manage to find stepping out into a secluded courtyard garden, finding Alexander Marcus there, puffing away at a pipe and sharing a few earthy moments with the beleaguered king. He pours out his memories of raising Jonathan, that his mother was always better at it, that he sees so little of himself in the boy and yet worries that he may have wronged him through some unconscious error. Time passes you by and you almost miss the dipping of the sun, but finally, at a loss for words, the king excuses himself for the night and leaves through the curtain of smoke. Moving to ensure Lotus and the others you would care for are out of the city before nightfall, you pass a shape in the gloom and, with a reassuring pat on your shoulder, the frog god offers you... Not sure. The laws of heaven, he says, may never be apprehended to mortal reckoning, but they are absolute. Arthashasta. Your night has been awakening. While Yunan and Onfalad were sharing a room from the elder scholar was explained to be taking vantage from the mountain to observe the phenomenon of Kaldor, leaving room for getting to know Onfalad better. They were each to one another an equal match and superior, the heat of passion stoked by a kindling of discourse and whetted by a friction of tender awkwardness. Rolling through their conversation, they would each learn and teach on matters weak and firm, which set a rhythm to dominate the night. Cascading across the sheets, they both discovered and revealed intimacies within sacred embraces, and when sleep finally came, it was atop a rocking cradle of conciliation and roseate euphoria.
Get it, girl!
Before I move on, does anyone have any questions?
Could you repeat the frog turtle's passing words again?
The laws of heaven may never be apprehended to mortal reckoning,
Okay,
but they are absolute.
cool.
AKA, it's a flower way of saying God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. I mean, Kalis doesn't know that. There's two words that probably aren't in his lexicon. So.
Apprehended and reckoning?
Yeah, Sagacious Hand, what does this word apprehending mean? I don't know, where are they? What's going on?
It's the cheese.
Free word.
So,
Debaucherous!
yes.
Debaucherous!
Now, what has sort of been getting skirted around is the fact that Sagacious Hand has been sitting on 9 limit for a really long time. And it has been affecting him in many different ways. And what has... last night, when Arthashasta inadvertently spurned him, it was the final straw that broke the camel's back. So, Sagacious Hand is currently in limit break.
Yes! I got turned down by a boy who lied. Alright.
So we'll see how that affects the events going forward, but keep that in mind. You don't I've already briefed Vay on that. See how we go. Moving into the session proper. We're going to start with Arthur Shasta. The warmth of the morning sun crosses your body and you become aware of the absence of that gentle, refreshing cool that surrounded you whenever Enfilade was near. Opening your eyes to the room, you find her not too far away, however, just beyond arm's reach and perched on the edge of a small wooden chair by the fold-out desk that you vaguely remember kicking over at some point during the night. She's holding what looks to be a ledger in one hand, while flicking a quill with the other across the pages in an elongated cursive script. A strand of jerky hangs from her mouth, and from the intensity of her stare and the golden flakes that had collected around her, well, the tunic that she had pulled over her head didn't quite reach all the way down, you see, and it's just a curve of skin and muscle, but, like, her concentration snaps off with a fine point, and her eyes find yours as languishes over the shape you make under the sheets, and then meeting you directly again. Her jaw tightens, and the jerky gets chewed a little more furiously before returning to her writing.
Is there some matter that you find yourself stuck on?
You're an academic, maybe you can help. Quickly, just scratches something out towards the bottom of the page before handing it over to you. Looking down at the page, you can see that she's titled what she's writing, Parallel Experience, a conflux of Yenin technique and ebullient energy. Seems to be making a study of some kind. But the passage reads as this. Today, I wake to find myself in a parallel experience. Observations of the forewritten web of interconnectedness precipitated by the Turing menagerie Excelsior had, to this point, been made from the studious distance, but due to a not regrettable dalliance with a visionary imparted on the same company, I find the web now includes myself. Further observation is required for accurate information documentation relating to the larger interconnected web, but this volume will be devoted to the doorway into the bowels. Arthur Shasta is approximately 6 hands from rump to scalp and 1/3 of a hand more to heel. An agreeable ratio. Intellectual discourse seemed to stimulate a more intimate proceedings. Based on our degree of words to minutes and a rough estimate of remaining literature at my disposal, I believe I could continue to engage in such discourse a further 7,900 times, assuming prevailing theories and subject matter suffer no scholastic drift within such a diverse time frame. I will need to analyse Arthur Shasta's appetite for such commonalities and create a working model to determine a safe refractory period between sessions to remain integral to his affections without trespassing on his curricular duties to the menagerie. And the remaining bit that she was writing has just been scribbled out and you can't read it.
It's like, is it a case study or a pillow book?
Case study, of course.
Well, in that case, I would like to point out that I did spend a few months studying with a few mystics in the Eastern Mountains that had enlightened me into certain physical techniques and how certain acts of physicality could be considered worship, which I think would greatly increase this number here.
It's a handout for the book. Take it. Go on.
Well, you see, well, maybe different for the Dragon Blood. It's my understanding you have a more esoteric and refined manner of dealing with your procreation. Essence accumulates and flows through the body, and it is meant to be exercised. Like, for instance, someone who consumes the essence of other things through too much ingestion, but does not access that energy he harnessed will grow fat and lazy. In certain ways, it's maybe not the best to allow various other naturally accruing bodily substances to become too built up. They need free release. It's like a dragon line. If it becomes dammed up, it can cause essence stability throughout the region. So while some religious organizations and mystics believe that withholding oneself from such activities will allow you to build the power up within, in most cases, actually, safe release is the best and most harmonious way to go about things.
That does have interesting ramifications to the general theory of Dragonline convergences. Run that one by a Hunan. Thanks. Back to writing some more. Do you have anything specific planned for the morning to speak to her, or head off to meet the other guys, or?
I'm going to spend a moment to know exactly what time it is and try and gauge how long until Yunin shows back up.
How long until Yunin shows back up? It's kind of like he'll show back up when he shows back up.
Cool.
There's no like schedule of when he needs to be doing whatever. It's just once he's finished his observations, he'll probably just go back. But you don't know what his observations are or how long that could conceivably take. Johan's sitting in the hall outside, sort of just curled up around. Blood's pretty sort of busy with what she's doing. She has sort of prepared a pot of tea, which she's just poured out, but you can tell that she hasn't touched it yet. Avail yourself of that if you want. You can try and engage her in conversation, or you can...
Well, I was going to use elegant weapon repertory to turn the sheets into a whip and lasso her around the waist and suggest that I would be more than willing to give her a practical demonstration.
So that happens.
And then later breakfast.
You're able. Yeah, we haven't had breakfast yet. If a man your size and strength is easily able to sort of pull her over. She doesn't really resist. But she does keep her book and pen with her. And the first like 5 minutes is her clumsily trying to figure out how she can like receive practical experience whilst also like keeping rigorous notes. And it's awkward and it's weird, and we'll just like pan away.
It's like, oh, he's being facetious. You are literally taking notes. Okay.
She's interested. It's important to her. It's part of her research.
It's for science.
So, meanwhile,
while Arthur Schaff is taking one for the team.
I think he's taking one for himself more than the team.
Guys, the battle's happening now. Where's Arthur? Oh, god damn.
Why is Arthur Schaff just leaning against the wall, smoking a cigarette, looking incredibly content?
So, meanwhile, the rest of the crew are gathered in Sagacious Hand's spacious caravan. Are gathered in Sagacious Hand's spacious caravan for a morning breakfast. Tarala is busily preparing food at the counter as Kayla sits nearby, so that everything is within arm's reach if it took his fancy. Sagacious Hand is flicking through a wardrobe. Jonathan is laid out on the couch nursing a bleary head, whilst Righteous Lotus is standing in front of a full-length mirror practicing lines for her bid to Kaldor. Lotus trials different variations of feigned surprise at the offering from Envelat, a few versions of solemn acceptance and inevitability, and then some vocal exercises to loosen up the muscles more, while the rest converse in their own activity.
Hey.
My friends, I have 3 questions. What does apprehend mean? Reckoning and absolute.
Tarala, without looking up from apprehend is to catch, like almost to take prisoner, like when you apprehend a criminal, you catch them. Reckoning. It's
I
hard
will
to
bring
do.
down a reckoning upon you upon which the dragons have never seen! Like that.
Yeah. And what was the third one?
Absolute.
Absolute. Oh, absolute is basically just like it's this.
Certainty.
Without doubt, but completely certain. Like she holds up soon. It is. This is absolutely a space.
Why?
I think I understand now. Oh, thank you, my friends.
Of course.
Mostly JP, what's up?
Well, right now, omelets. But if anybody has anything against that, I can whip up something else.
Perhaps you should whip up something else as well, just in case I do not like these omelets.
It's not a question of whether you'll eat them, it's...
I mean, I am just asking for more food, really.
Sukusen is gonna open the door and, like, have a look out. Just general, it's just... He's still not back! Just close the door. Go back to the wardrobe. How's your head, Jonathan?
Kill me.
Well, if you would eat that soup I gave you, clear things up.
Why did I let you talk me into that chalk?
Because there was a bet going as to whether or not you would do so. And then the following bet as to whether or not after you had snorted 5 different colours, whether or not you would sneeze a rainbow. You got 5 out, man! Like this high!
I win?
Yes.
Okay.
Your name will live in glory.
And with that, Tarala offers over the victory omelet. Which is made with 3 types of meat: ham, bacon, and sausage. With 4 types of peppers: mild, red, green, and a spicy habanero. And using the freshest salt from Hands, using a little bit of the freshest salt from Hands larder, and just a hint of that rosemary to help hurt him back up.
Light seems to spark in his eyes as he sort of looks up to Gerard and says, "Oh, last night, Hand said that he had his favorite peppers. They're in a jar, and he'd like some of those."
Oh, you... No. I thought you were going to suggest it for, Kalis. I take back my maniacal laughter. That...
I like Kalis.
Alright. So, you did really well. We asked if you would like to try a pepper. And after an entire night of saying yes to nearly every suggestion, you stood there and bravely said, "You know what? No. No, I don't think I'm going to eat a ghost pepper." We're all very disappointed because it would have been hilarious, but also, like, Jonathan, Was it fun? Was it a great night?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Because now you're going to look back, and if there is ever a question when you are standing in one of those boring courtroom meetings deciding the fate of Caldor, then you'll think, can I do something? And absolutely, you can do anything you want. You've snorted 5 different types of chalk, you've sneezed, you've managed to walk that trapeze until it was perfect.
Sagacious Hand is truly magic. You would not believe what he was able to get some people to do. There was a parade of chickens, but like people thinking that they were chickens. Have you ever seen anything of its kind?
Can I fix that? Hang on.
Chickens? And people thinking they were chickens.
You know, it's just a few words and a wave of his hand, and off to Dreamland, everyone.
Man, have you taken up hypnosis?
It's not really taken up, it's actually relatively simple. It's just basic persuasion, really, and it just starts to lead into it. You know, explain the process of, you know, inspiring that feeling, persuading them to be a certain way. We've got enough within the show, like we tend to bounce off each other. It's just, I got a bit sick of it last night. I've been not great. Caldor stresses me out way too much. And just, again, the lookout is like, seriously? When's... door.
I'm sorry.
He's still...
Shasta?
He's got a body of a man who's certainly got a stamina, but, like... I guess he's a man of focused intent?
Wait. And you like Arthur Shuster?
And then Tamura just goes... like suddenly like, oh crap.
Yeah, you. Helping from the sidelines. It's
I was just trying to stick it to my uncle.
Well, now he's sticking it to Enfilade, thanks.
Jonathan laughs.
It's not a big deal. Look, it's that weird thing where I've kind of been afraid of him also for the past 6 months, so it's kind of... I actually feel better now after last night, just to go, you know what? I'm not smart enough for him. And that's okay. It's kind of good to know, in the same way that I'm not a book, and I'm therefore not Miss Sarah's type. It's okay. Mostly... I think I'm just hit on this thing after having gone through all the stresses we've got, and now we've just got everyone back from the underworld. We've had half a day, and we've lost someone. And De Novo's gone. Arthur Shuster, I'm assuming, is coming back. Like, should we check? I don't... what's the protocol here? I don't particularly want to be the one to go up and check. Like, I'm just...
Is that an extra plate for Maze, Jade Phoenix? Perhaps I should take it over to her.
Yes, you can take an extra plate over to Maze, yes. That's...
Maze went...
checked on her since...
Yeah, I checked on her. Maze went home.
And her ward?
Okay. Is being looked after by me.
Good to know.
It hit a point last night where it was actually something that Jade Phoenix Soul said yesterday. I promise to look after JP. Haven't been doing a very good job of that. Trying to yourself, Kalis, like just trying to. If you've been brought into the Excelsior, then it is my job to offer some sort of happiness. And if this thing's first experience is going to be distrust and fear, I don't want that to happen. So I've changed it from whatever narrative it was on in the same way that we've just collided, and I think I owe it to it to give it something more than leaving it with someone that none of us really know. And also Arthur Shasta didn't come back last night to check, so like, no. Bugger this. It's staying here. It's a part of the team. We're okay with that. Just like assertive, like, no, it will be fine.
I mean, I get 2 breakfasts, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
You feeling confident, Ambassador, about today's proceeding?
Yeah, yes. Yes, of course. She glances at Jonathan, clearly not wanting to say anything in front of him. I think we'll put in a good showing.
Fantastic. I suppose I will stand around and look intimidating? Is that my role? Protect your body? You're meant to be bodyguarding you, yeah?
You could look friendly.
I can do that as well.
You know, we don't want to... We're not strong.
Sometimes
Is that okay by you?
It's a nexus that sometimes you have to put on a face for the crowd. Even if it's not what you're feeling inside.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
But you're saying I can be friendly, Kalis, and it won't impede my duty?
No, in fact it would help.
No, that is I can do.
Well, great. What are you going to wear? Geisha's hand? What's he going to wear?
The outfit from last night was pretty flattering, I think. And there's only a little bit of meat grease stains and, why, like barely can see it.
Geisha's hand.
There'll be something.
You know what?
I could...
There had better be. I'll see you in an hour. Collects her things and takes off. Get ready. Finish getting ready.
Talking of preparations, do we have to prepare the field for the duel?
Yeah. Oh god. About de novo.
So things will go a little bit smoother?
What happened to... Why did the show hate me?
He has gotten a raven and head off.
He is a very private man. It's best not to pry. I once asked him what I thought was a trivial question about his history, and it didn't go well.
Right.
The only thing I can imagine. He's a guy strictly bound by duty, so assuming family. Kind of been trying to press that for the past couple of months. It's just really unfortunate that now is the time you have left. I had a vague inkling of the plan. That's now out the window. We need to work on what are we going to do if they rock up and start, everyone attack. we've talked to Marcus. We've Arthur. Maybe we can get on Falad on board. I'm gonna go to the battlefield and prep before the evening. But the guy who knew ghosts, the guy who I was certain would be able to stand in front of everyone really, but specifically in front of JP, is no longer going to be there. So this is now what was originally an idea for me to be able to stall until everyone got back. This is now actively a bad plan. I'm not comfortable with it.
Oh, sorry, Harry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that we're going to have to, before we head on, the only other thing we have that vague ghost territory at this point is contacting Lady Pandea directly before. Maybe if we could get a blessing, you could speak to her. Bad?
What?
Yeah, so we could probably arrange a reunion.
Just like that?
Well, it's a little bit more... Yes, basically just like that.
Optimism and confidence. Just like that.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Right, well, Charlie, do you have anything from pain?
Pain is just the body shedding weakness.
I'm shedding a lot of weakness right now. Ryla? Oh, sorry. Jade? Jade Phoenix Soul?
In here, you don't need to do. Oh, wait.
No, he doesn't know. Sorry, that was my mistake.
I got used to just everybody knowing it.
JP. Actually, he calls you JP.
Which is fine.
He's picked it up off sand. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, optimism, like Anna's saying, optimism is 90% of getting anything done.
Hey, then
I had to like...
Oh, please. I obviously have no idea what I'm doing. Go.
I mean, truth be told, most of us don't really have any idea of what we're doing. I mean, I'm supposed to fight a bunch of ghosts.
No, you're not.
Fought ghosts.
No, you're not.
What?
No. We had someone who was able to be able... I stalled for 3 days to be able to get someone to stand in front of you. No, you're not going out on that battlefield. I know there's very little I can do to stop you, but no, you are not going on the front lines. Not now, not after this. I just need to figure out the logistics.
Wait, when did the plan change?
There was a plan?
Okay. With the lack of de novo, we're still going to need 3. We've got Marcus.
Yeah.
And it just starts like listing off some people. Right. Okay. There's Lord Wyatt. We can bring Lord Wyatt down. So we've got an extra person on the field, someone who knows Caldor, someone who knows the tactics. Jonathan, how are you with a blade? Or a shield? Or general setting up of something?
I might have an idea to help numbers.
How'd you go? No.
No.
Thank you for letting us know.
Love you.
Please close the door and stop banging on it.
Sorry, I missed a lot.
As I was saying, I have an idea that may even things in our odds, but it requires some guidance from our good friend Arthur Shasta.
Oh, buddy. We have a hurt Velkling. 1 second.
Take it.
Draggy. No. Okay, darling, take a breath. Think about what we're saying. Deep breath. You were trying to get. That's what happened, yeah. Okay. Hey, it's okay that the mask broke. It is totally okay. Okay? Mummy can fix it. All I need is the wire. Okay? Got something to eat? Do you want to sleep off? Right, well, I think that the cure for this is a tickle. No tickles? Okay.
Sorry, viewers. 1 moment.
Do you want to mute and I can ramble on? If that would help?
No, that's right. Just I'm gonna use this opportunity to fix this curtain. So 1 second.
Just do it, please.
So,
Sorry, guys.
What I'm thinking is there was the army of Caldor has been slowly being killed off by the ghost, as far as my understanding is. That was implied a couple of sessions ago, I think, but wasn't.
Yes, they've suffered quite a few losses. They weren't sure why.
So excellent. Got a little plan. It's going to require everybody's skills and a bit of a scavenger hunt. And a little bit of persuasion. What could go wrong? Also getting
Are we live?
Yeah.
Still? Oh? Yeah. Okay. Sagacious Hand is going to take a seat. Directly across. He was sitting next to Jonathan. He moves so he is sitting and able to face Tarala directly. I am so sorry. I failed you. I did. In the chaos of what happened with the underworld and having lost Arthur Shasta and Novo and Miss Sarah, and I didn't know when or if they were coming back, I was trying to make do with plans, playing catch up. Like having stepped onto a stage and half the rest of the players of the scene have just suddenly disappeared. I've been improvising. And I'm pretty good at that, except that meant that I started treating you like a colleague instead of both a friend. That you're right, I should have checked up on you, and it's egregious that I didn't. But more importantly, the fact that I put you in that situation to begin with, I shouldn't have. It's not. And just starts stuttering. He's like, I shouldn't have let you go into that room with that plan. It was effective. It was the swiftest way to most efficiently achieve a goal. But I discounted you. I am so sorry. I'm hoping that's the only failure that we'll have. But what you said yesterday, yeah, I've been stuffing up. I haven't been myself, and part of it is that this place is freaking me out. After last night, I feel like I've come to a relative plateau of calm. I'm still terrified about this battle, but it's given me enough clarity but just to be able to step up and say whatever the most efficient, best sounding plan is anymore. I can't have you out there. Much as you want to, need safe. I can't stop you from going onto the battlefield, but not the front line.
Terrell is absolutely taken aback by this because it's just and you know full well I'm one of the best fighters in the Excelsior.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have me? I'm going out there. I have to.
You are one of the best fighters in the... Probably one of the best fighters I've had the pleasure of personally meeting, but why are you so good at fighting? And like looking towards Jonathan, it's like, just honestly, why are you so good at fighting?
Since I wanted to be, I always... Dad, like my dad, my family, we come from a line. It's... We've all been trained in the play. We all wanted to be. That's why I read my let's face facts, trashy realm adventure novels. Because I love that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I get it. This is the real world, not some propaganda fluff story. It's... And the thing is, see, in those stories, the tragedies are always overwritten, like just not cared about, because it's all about the focus of the victory. When what we need to do is prevent the tragedies in the first place. That's why I'm going to do this.
That's why I'm not wanting you out there. When was the last time you held a blade? Truly, really?
2 nights at the... When night did you jump out the window?
Like to think that I was thrown, but 6-7 days ago.
Okay, that was the last time I held a blade. Realistically, to actually fight.
And I wasn't there. I was too caught up in my own personal dramas that I wasn't there for you, and I don't know what happened. Because for me, last time I know you held a blade was also the last time that you were in a ballroom. Which was also something that I asked you to do without thinking, treating you as a colleague, knowing full well that you are the greatest fighter, that you are able to carry everyone else. 13, T'Challa. And I know you're great with a blade. I know you can hold your own. I know I've seen you do it. But in the same way, I shouldn't have put you in that position. I shouldn't have even asked you to step foot with that stupid plan to make you relive all of that pain and all of that trauma. And it feels like that what we're about to do is step right back into putting you right back where you were a few days ago. Now, I can't stop you from fighting, but please, not at the front. I was okay if there was going to be someone who could be standing in front, someone who knew what they were doing with spirits. We don't have that anymore. then he's gonna stand up and move like to rest in front of her, like hands on hers. Like, I don't want to dissuade you. I only want encouragement for you, but in this moment, I don't think it's the best place to be. Either help me find a way that you can still help without being in direct conflict, or we find something else entirely.
Thrall is honestly just shocked at this, given the fact that, like, this is like, especially because Candace actually witnessed her fight, so the hand knows how good she is. So it's one of those things where it's like, this is genuinely shocking because like you're removing a piece from the gateway board because they don't do chess in creation. You're removing a piece from the gateway board, and it's like you're just giving yourself hard mode.
And in my village, we have those that have the heart of the warrior. I believe JP is also hears the calling of the warrior. It's her ancestors had that call. She has it. The dragons have imbued her to answer that. But when our warriors go off to fight,
and I agree.
Much like
Sorry?
When our warriors go off to fight, we have a ceremony of mourning. More of a celebration of their lives up until this point, because we know that it could be the last. And when they walk through the line and pass on to assemble for battle, they shed off, at least for the moment, their connections to their tribe, for that in battle may very lead to their death. They cannot be slowed by those thoughts, and so you have Jade Phoenix, our friend, but you also have Jade Phoenix, the warrior, and they may not be the same person, although they have the same body and may have the same smile. And I feel that it's hard being chieftain. I don't even begin to want to imagine how difficult, but also, like I said to King Marcus, you can't take complete responsibility. A tribe is made up of many people that each have their role. You cannot deny the call of Jade Phoenix. If she wishes to answer that call, we can support her, but if she thinks she's up to the challenge and there's nobody else to stand against this monstrosity, let's face it, it is an abomination. I feel it deep in my heart that this thing must be taken from creation and destroyed if we can. And DP, I do not relish the fact, and I wouldn't really want to stand in front of it. It is creepier, but if you need me by your side, you only have to ask.
Terrell looks over at Kalis and yeah, like, I absolutely would love to have you fight by my side. I mean, that's why I said one of the best fighters. I mean, Kalis, I've seen you firsthand. You have taken down beasts so much larger than yourself, and you yourself are a mountain of a man.
I mean, the only reason I'm really volunteering is I heard there might be victory omelette if we're successful, so it's really a self-serving interest here.
And there will absolutely be a victory omelet. But yeah, and we signed up for this. Look, yes, I freaked out the other day. It was rough, but there is a difference between reliving the day that changed my life forever and facing down an army to protect others. There is something very different about that. I don't have any internal demons about the latter.
I'm glad somebody in our group does not have internal demons. That is reassuring.
Rala, how old are you? And flat out using her name in front of John. How old are you now?
Just about 14.
Hold on. Okay. Thanks, Orion. Close door. Sorry, I got. Right.
Yeah, she responded just about 14.
Kalis, when she was first, when everyone first met Jade Phoenix Soul, we had makeup, the fire aspects, were, hair dyed, hidden with makeup. She looked older, acted older. I haven't dissuaded any of those myths or those rumors, specifically to try and protect her. The very reason I've been trying to do now, walking around in the castle, I'm concerned because you are 14, and I agree, heart of a warrior, you will make an amazing general, an amazing leader, and there are going to be those stories I know that I'm going to read about you when you're older. You're 14. One more year. 2. And if Jonathan was here, because he's currently vomiting outside,
What are these years you took offhand?
Tarala can't even decide to get married on her own, to drink on her own. I don't think deciding whether or not she's able to go onto a battlefield is her decision to make. It should. It was up to me. I was meant to protect you. I was meant to make it that you didn't relive that trauma. And I stuffed up. And I'm so sorry. And I cannot fix that, but I can fix that now. And I know how good you are. Please don't be on that battlefield. Or at least back with me. Not front and center.
Do you people judge a person by the time that has passed, rather than the roads and journeys they have taken? Because it sounds like to me that you are being blinded by how many summers and winters Jade Phoenix has had, and not what has happened in all of those summers and winters. One can spend their whole life without really living, and there are some that have lived in such a short space of time more than others could dream in a lifetime. And each measuring one or another by each person has their own journey that they've taken, and that is how capable they are by what they've experienced. I feel like you're ignoring Jade Phoenix's experience and her trials and her accomplishments in favor of to try and make up for things that you believe you have done wrong. I'm sorry to say this, friend, and I don't believe it works that way.
I can't stop you. Go out there. I physically can't stop you.
And she nods, like, no, you can't. I am going out there. I know. But I know that you are concerned. I know. Yes, you know, yes, I'm scared of what's going to happen, but at the same time, I'm exalted. And that's the key thing here. This is something we do.
Okay.
She won't be alone, Hand. I'll
No.
be...
I'm going on the front lines with her. Decision's made. Johan is staying back. We're moving forward. We'll go with Marcus. And he immediately starts bringing out the paper. It's like, Arthur Shasta isn't here. We can figure out some of these schematics a little later, and starts going over the battlefield. I think with enough salt, we'll be able to lure them in this particular way. If you stand here and starts like actually drawing out placements for the mirrors that were up at the castle to then lift them up.
Brother?
I'm just going to point out, I'm actually doing this because as she's looking over, she actually whispers, because presumably Arthur Shasta's in the mile range. You need to get back here. Something is very wrong with Hand.
Kalis will look over to JP and then look at Hand and like, you sure you wish to do this, friend? I know that battle is not really your calling. In fact, I thought you wished to be as far away from battles as possible.
It's my preference. If Jade is going out, I'm going out.
In
What?
which case,
You think I can't handle myself on a battlefield? I'm actually the only one in the room who's actually been at a battle, so we can make some stratagems. I can set up some things in advance as long as I've had a look at the battlefield. I don't need a blade to be able to help.
I don't doubt your capabilities, and I just the battles are won both with your physical prowess, but also the prowess of your heart, and the warrior's heart isn't reliable. It doesn't matter how capable or skilled they are. Sometimes it is better to put aside a really strong warrior if they aren't able to face the trial to come, and there's no shame or dishonor in that. It is, we are family, we are friends. If you are not up to it, I am happy to stand beside Jade Phoenix and help her fight. The offer is there, Hans, and think on it. I'm going to go there with that. Kedis is going to walk outside and see how Jonathan is doing.
I said Jonathan started to vomit, so that's how.
Oh, right, okay.
Coming back inside. Also, I didn't get talk to Kel beforehand. The intent is not to say you can't play. And I am playing Sagacious Hand, who's like no, let's not. We had another character before who could stand in front.
Oh no, I get it. No, this is legitimately one of the issues of playing a young character too. It's something I anticipated. But
Alpha Shasta, you can arrive at any point you feel.
Alright, I'll stroll in the door now.
How disheveled is he?
Oh,
Is he
no.
immaculate or
that's important.
That is important.
Here, let me. Your shirt's on backwards.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really trim his fingernails or comb his hair, and yet it always looks luxurious because Essence loves him. But he is clearly wearing the same wrinkled clothes from last night.
And I'm just adding that his shirt is backwards.
Ah, yes, it's not the normal type of garment I wear. I was wondering why it felt so constrictive.
Late night, my friend?
And early morning.
Gage says gonna like, cause he was down holding like Varala's hands, like just kind of pat them, and as he like stands up, like give her a affectionate kiss on the forehead before moving and bringing a steaming mug of cocoa to Arthur Shasta.
Thank you.
We're discussing battle plans. Want to sit down and have a go, or did you sleep?
Yes.
Well, good.
Wig.
Someone sure.
Well, good for you. Okay.
Now that we're all here, my idea to perhaps protect. I guess we may all be concerned at what happens if the army of ghosts don't honor the agreement of a duel. Are we concerned about this? Is it just me?
Yes.
No, I have a weird idea, but I don't have the knowledge of spirits as much as you, Shasta de Novo. So perhaps you could say if it is a good idea at all or not. But why do we not try and find the scenes of where these Caldor soldiers were murdered and see if their ghosts could lend aid to us?
They already left.
Stories of honored ancestors or coming back to protect those that their family in time of crisis.
They've already left. They were the ones that attended the ball. Hearing King Marcus's declarations of honesty and regret for his actions, King gave them enough closure that they seem to have gone to Leith. They're found. They've been locked in battle with those that we met for decades now. Like again, they achieved peace, but then now the fact that all these ghosts are wandering around is technically our fault.
I think the biggest question is, do we want to risk violating the terms of the agreement ourselves? There's a difference between support and influence. That's a thin. It's the line's easy to cross.
I would not feel comfortable being party to not honoring the spirit of the duel.
3 generals stride out. 3 generals against 3. If anything happens, if they betray it, then we're going to have plans in place to defend ourselves. There is not, like, being prepared is not violating it. We can prepare the battleground. I can bring mirrors, moving the mirrors around, and that talks to Arthur Shasta, be able to use the angles so people can be able to move around the battlefield to get a greater advantage. Perhaps like hiding our presence, corralling them in a particular area, but how are we going to get rid of them? They're immaterial. If we destroy them, are they going to go to the underworld? Are they going to go to Leith? Do we need to bind them to stop them from being able to come back?
Unfortunately, these are all questions that Novo is more suited to answer. My understanding is that unless they have a strong connection to something here, chances are once destroyed, they will not reform. While that connection is Alexander Marcus, it would reason that being destroyed both in his name while alive and dead may be enough to put them over. At this point, we get into questions of theology and their personal intent that I am not entirely qualified to answer.
Come in.
The door of the caravan opens up, and one of Sagesh's Hand's little messenger boys just pops his head in. Morning, Mr. Hand. There was a messenger from the palace come down. The king is like, heading out and wanted to meet everyone.
In other words, hurry up. Thanks, Alfred.
Sure thing, Mr. Hand.
Kalis picks up the remains of the cooking bowl and starts wandering off to the door.
Hey, kid. Top pocket.
Run a type shit, Mr. Hand. So this is where we'll take our first break for today. We've managed to see the morning through, had a bit of a talk. There's some character tension going on, which is nice. And we're moving forward to discussing our battle strategy. So we would like to start the battle today. So when we come back, which is hopefully going to be in about 10-15 minutes at the most, we're going to be at the battlefield, and we can discuss strategy there. If anyone has any ideas, please sort of go over it quickly during the break. When we come back, we can cover that stuff as I don't want to sort of just race through it, but I would like to cover it succinctly, so that then we can move on to the finale. Thank you very much, everyone who's watching live. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes.
Overprotective Hand out.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the Invictwitch crew. A good 11 minutes later than I promised we'd be here, but that's okay. We're here to move on.
Ooh! We're here to make them move on. Of creation.
Okay, so just before the break, the players were discussing how to go about facing this this combat that is ahead of them. That is this night. They have precious little time to prepare. Marcus has started moving out towards the battlefield to sort of survey and look and discuss and sort of more than just sort of look at the map, actually take you out there and sort of show you what's there, so you get a better feel of what's going on. So you take that into account if you are coming up with any plans. You can discuss them with you at length. So when you leave the Excelsior, you meet up with Marcus, who does not have an escort. He's just riding on out. He's dressed up in his battle attire, that very sort of the sort of almost fantasy Nordic, big armor, lots of fur cloaks, because there's lots of fur. They just like them. And he's got this big, almost Clydesdale walk trotting out on, and you would have your own jump on, and sort of the trip out towards the battlefield takes just over an hour. Any sort of objects and supplies and things that you want to bring along to start set up are organized. Say that they are organized. While we're at the battlefield, we can then introduce these elements as we need. So, yes, yes.
I think we're getting a little bit of the fade out again. Yeah. Like the cutting out, like it's like you'll talk and it'll be
right. Okay. Nothing has changed. What's happened?
Were you speaking fast and trail?
Maybe.
Enunciate. Battle.
It might be you're not aiming into the mic, maybe, when you're getting carried away with the narrative scene you're setting.
That's what she said.
The King Marcus meets you, and you go towards the battlefield. Anything you want to bring with you, keep that in mind, and we'll introduce it while we're there.
Cool.
TLDR. So, coming over the rise, you can see the early morning mist hanging around the trees. At this time of day, when the heat and rays of the sun are just starting to crest through the land, the landscape is clearer, and those who have lived around bodies of water understand that the mist means that there is water, even if it's unseen. Those who have lived in Kaldor know the mist covers what was once a man-made lake in ages past. Now thin grass and berries grow wild, and to the untrained eye, it exists as a verdant meadow. Farmers and the stock boys know to avoid it with the cattle, the telling mist marking the boundaries. Unfortunately for the realm troops, that 20 years ago, it was not early morning when they began their assault. The Kaldor troops stood their ground with shaking hands and bayonets. The cavalry of the realm charged with banners high, and with each successive weighted combatant that disturbed the hidden peat and the unstable ground gave way. No traction or footing could be found by the horses, and inch by inch they sank. Alexander takes the time to describe his recollection of the battle, pointing out significant landmarks within the wide valley basin. After the battle, as it is told, Formica wept over the valley, and a great rain drowned out any sign of the conflict. By morning, the grasses had already reasserted themselves, and the remains of our comrades were hopelessly tangled in root and stem. So we memorialize the battle with that henge, he says, pointing to a raised hill at the eastern edge of the basin, and warned out any local travel across the land. The henge itself is a simple rock formation cut from the stone of Kaldor's mountain barrier. A metal plate bearing a simple message of remembrance has been hewn into the altar. in memorandum of the victims of Tither Long Folly, both those who stood for Kaldor and those against. You can see underneath there is a rough scoring in the rock. Anyone who can read. The letters are misshapen and haggard, like someone who had been told what they looked like, but didn't actually understand their meaning themselves. Reads, 321, us remember you lost.
You know who did this? Pointing at the scratched in.
No, I do not.
Have you ever been out here since? What, several decades ago?
Yes, we have annual. He explains that there's a not quite a full-on ceremony sort of thing, but they like every year they sort of a couple of the nobles come out and they sometimes the villagers join them. A meeting and remembrance around the stone, and then.
Okay. If you could walk us around the field, show us where the where about the barriers would be the strongest points. We just starts talking the mechanics of where to stand. Arthur Shasta can get an actual idea of the ley lines of the lands. I'll start setting up some defenses just in case. Kalis, would you be able to, if you knock down one of those trees, set up some seating on either side, so if they're, and just start to arrange stuff. I'm going to roll one of my charms, which is a larceny charm, to forget what it's called, Living Shadow Preparedness.
Oh, I'll actually give you one done for you.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, the aim of this is like get an actual lay of the land. And out of character, were we going to talk to before the battle starts to Lady Pandea?
Mentioned you wanted to do that, yeah?
Everyone's still okay with that?
So,
Or,
yeah.
or I just want to check because due to time, like, should we skip it or are we okay?
Skipping parts of the game
Okay.
just for time.
I'm just very aware that we've been trying to, you know, kill these guys for a while.
Oh well.
Okay. I believe it's a wits and larceny. So that 5, 8, 6, and 18 dice, please.
18. You're spending notes on this, I assume.
Yep, I am spending
Okay,
notes.
While this is happening, does anyone else want to just establish what they're doing, if they want to do something specific, anything like that? Boom. That is 6 successes.
6 successes. Alright. Thank you.
I was gonna have Tarala essentially do like with Karanthar, like try as Marcus did, get Karanthar to feel the land beneath his feet so that he knows like what firm and what's terra firma and what's terra falla.
So the shape of the battlefield is like these. You've come from like rolling hills, and it just comes to this point where the land just dips away into this vast basin, like just under a mile across, I would say. And when the land reasserts itself on the other side back into hills, there are the remains of what used to be this great forest. But given the state of Kaldor it's in, obvious that sort of bony white decline. Because of what's going on in Kaldor, the grasses here at Titherlong Folly are about as green as you've seen in Kaldor, short of Formica's actual sanctum. The ground here is exceedingly fertile, and the grasses and brush are sort of dense and twisted over the top of this, just what is otherwise absolutely just sloppy sludge underneath. If you try and sort of step out onto it, you'll sink down to about like maybe an inch above your ankles at first. If you keep trying to move further out across the field, you will sink further and further up to about probably just above your knee. Of course, adjust for the fact that Tarala is shorter and Kalis is taller than average. You find that the weight of Caranthar, it's not that it would be impossible for Caranthar to move around on this area, but he would have to. Caranthar, a boy or a girl? Does that really matter? They would need to. They would need to be like very careful about where they move and how they move, because sort of like after what has happened, the peat that was here previously, built up over decades, got pushed down, and then there's a whole bunch of corpses on top of it, and then all of this grass and stuff has grown up around it, and then that too has sunk, and then another layer of peat has sort of come up over the top of it. So it's just it is even less stable now than it was during the battle.
So he's having trouble, and Caranthar is a guy.
Okay.
Boy horse.
So you would be able to move around. It's not going to prohibit you from taking Caranthar onto the field, but it does present its own issue.
Now, due to the unstableness of this terrain and the fact that it's one of the few places that seems fertile, do we want to do the fight here, or do we want to do it in the adjacent forest?
Incidentally, this is where you promised you would.
Oh, well, that settles that.
Hey, has anyone got any other further, any charms or prep things to activate?
Yes, Elk. I would like to make an established fact roll that a fair number of the trees in the dead forest nearby are Boswell Sakara, which is where frankincense comes from. When they died and cracked open, the last of their resin hardened on the branches and is still there due to the sort of prohibition about coming to this area. And I'd like to then harvest a bunch of it to use to try and help eventually lay this ghost creature to rest due to the spiritual nature of frankincense and how it's used in a bunch of rituals.
Okay. That seems fairly reasonable, so I'll only give it a difficulty 1.
Pausing.
Then I will automatically succeed.
Yay!
Yay!
Watching Thrashasta go through these trees, like the resin, explaining what it is, it's like that sounds like that's something that years ago they might have harvested. It seems odd for it to be growing relatively wild, which means that looking back over the field, if this place isn't draining water, for it to be gathering so much peat, maybe there's an old structure. We're talking Shogunate era, possibly older, that could even be beneath that's causing the water not to go down into the full water table. So if there's some way we can get under there might be an extra structure to use beneath the battleground itself. Use fact, for there to have been, there's a production building there. There's something that was once there underneath the battleground itself. There is a pre-constructed building.
Okay, I'll give you 1 point done and a difficulty 3.
Cool.
Dice pool.
That is intelligence 2 and law 5. With the stunt die?
9 dice?
Yeah.
And
Yay!
7 successes. Wow.
What was the difficulty?
3.
3. Cool. Was that moderate to high?
Yes.
Yeah. Could I please add a law specialty?
Have the chance, so yeah.
Okay, thank you. I
What's
was.
it going to be?
I need to have a think about that.
Okay. Tarala, was there any further preparations you wanted to try and look at making?
Well, if we know about this, so assuming Hand is talking about that, she might. Tarala is probably gonna. Honestly, I really don't actually have any preparations for this with all of that. She's gonna wait until somebody suggests something before doing that. Any suggestion? Because she does have a plan, but it requires. Oh, I now learned about this type thing. You know.
Okay, cool. So we can assume that information is being passed on. Also, keep in mind that Marcus is there. If you have any questions about the last battle, he is available to answer those questions.
What happened to all the warriors' family swords and equipment? Was it lost in the quagmire?
Yes. As I mentioned, by the time the sun rose and we were able to send out an effort to try and retrieve anything, the whole place was completely overgrown, twisted, and it's just impossible to retrieve anything of value.
Well, I think even though it is a difficult task, it may be necessary for some semblance of rest for these warriors from foreign lands, bodies to be tried to be returned. So I guess I might have to solve that problem after this fight.
That would be greatly appreciated. Something we're trying to figure out how to achieve.
I often find that if you apply enough force to a problem, eventually you will find a solution.
And you are a man who appears to have a great deal of...
Is there any boulders around in this area? Like, you said it's in a valley? Like, is there been...
There can be if you want them to be.
I will get a collection of boulders.
The boulder is not frightened by a little girl. The boulder is no longer feeling conflicted.
What? Have I got a talking boulder? That's amazing. Great.
That was actually the Death Rock.
Someone touched it.
So are you collecting boulders?
Yeah, I'm just gathering boulders, like helping Arthur Shasta with collecting sap if he needs to be lifted up to, or branches taken down for him. I can help with that. Any of the here, he can perhaps point out the trees that are like dead and no longer have the roots, so that'd be easier for me to like pull out with a chain and like, you know, leverage. So easier to like move them to prepare for this pit trap if we're still doing it.
You guys still want to do that?
How would you create a pit in this place, or would you make it somewhere else?
Sorry, say that again. Now you cut out the last bit.
How would you make a pit here, or would you make it somewhere else?
Like make it where the trees are, or make it in where the battleground?
I was thinking that we just like you know how you put in like series and films, you have like twigs, like branches laid over something, and then you put the grass and like cover it up over it. The dual arena, we could have that with a structure underneath to trap them, but instead of having like fragile twigs that will break, we have more sturdier like logs that can be removed like, you know, by Kalis when needed to be, so there's no chance of it really happening during battle until we want it to. But I don't know if that's...
So to clarify, the structure that Sagacious Hand established, or discovered, should I say, is like underground.
Yeah.
So the way that these sort of waterways usually are made is that whatever water collects through like rainfall or whatever, it has trouble draining for some reason, and it gets pushed up out of the water table and just sort of sits there, and sort of that creates these marshy areas. So what Sagacious Hand was saying is that the reason that it's sitting up there and can't drain away properly into the water table is because there's totally a ruin down there underneath that thing. And if we just punch it hard enough, we could probably collapse the whole thing in and, you know, drop this valley or something like that into what appears to be a mega structure underneath it. So it's not going to happen in the heat of battle anyway. Otherwise, it would have happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I don't know what depth it is, but I assume that we have, like, I mean, do we want to, like, pit trap this ghost? Is that possible? Like, do we want to create a little, like, I don't know how deep the structure's down. Do we have any idea?
It's as deep as plot.
Okay, so we could have above the structure, but, you know, we could have room to build this pit trap if we want. I'm not saying that we have to or not. I just, like, I mean, I'm happy to basically sculpt the land as you require.
The only issue with that is that, like, this isn't like dirt and ground. It's like it is only slightly more viscous than milk.
Oh, okay.
You want to try? Palis has previously punched something so much a fissure happened in the ground to be able to tear asunder that part into the earth to then make the rest of the plants. Like, use his strength to be able to make his way down.
With a sufficient feat of strength, Kalis is able to punch the marsh and collapse the roof of the structure such that everything will fall. Yes.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure. What is this structure? Do we know anything about it? Like, it could be significant in some way. Like, my village had an old ruins. There was a point of reverence. It seemed to be a holy place. I do not relish the idea of destroying that which I do not know how significant it could be.
Yeah, that's right. You don't know what it is. It's there, but you don't know what it is.
Is there any, like, what's the, like, lay of the land? Like, could we siphon off this with a significant strength and, like, a bellows set up? Like, could we drain the water out? Could we dry it out with enough aura from the fire aspect? I'm asking these questions out of character for characters that have those lore knowledge to, like, perhaps.
Does it? Okay, so there's something about this battlefield that I've mentioned, but no one has specifically, like, mentioned that they have picked up on. Do you know what peat is?
It's very flammable.
It's flammable.
Very flammable.
Super flammable.
Properly treated.
Yep.
There's a, like,
it doesn't have to be properly treated. There are peat fires
it
all the
depends,
time.
like, on the methane content, I believe, with peat, like, on how flammable the actual peat marshes are. But I think, like, for use of human things, as far as I know, you have to cut it out. You do a drying process to process it, and then it's good to be used as, like, for flammable human things. But I mean, if you,
it's they can be dangerous because something about the salty content of the water can. Usually, in our world, whatever forms that also tends to have a high percentage chance for also having methane in the ground. That because of the loose nature tends to seep up.
So what my understanding of it is what happens is, like, part of the decaying process, like bacteria and stuff will, like, basically biologically process and break stuff down. And a byproduct of that would be methane. And so marshes and peat bogs can have pockets of that trapped methane, which is what caused the explosive and the flammable things. But I think the other substance, like the plant matter that effectively you're burning, is too wet for it to reach its, like, flash point and flammable point, but I could be wrong.
It happened in Russia, like, in 2010.
Yeah, but that would be the methane. Like, I'm not sure that's, like, and then once it, like, burns for enough time, it may get the other material to, like, catch fire.
Sounds like kabloom!
There is the danger of explosions and massive fire.
Hey, guess who's immune to that?
Johan?
Okay.
Even with that in mind, what I'm going to do is in places, I mean, that I consider to be of strategic importance, which is really based on my gut, but also geomantic importance. He's gonna take branches and logs from the tree and like have Kalis plant them in the ground and try and put a large amount of the frankincense on each end, with the goal of having either Tirala or Johan ignite them during the fight.
Cool. Shasta, would it also help for anything that you're working? Any of De Novo's swords? Before he left, when we were at the party, before, Ghost crash everything, I got him to make 100 of them, and we never actually got to Act 4, so the very thing he was concerned about being his essence woven into the swords, would this perhaps help with anything you're doing to have that sort of and he stops. He goes, specifically, these were made as quickly as he was able to from the brooch pins, the shoe racks, the coat hangers, any bit of metal that wasn't immediately noticeable or needed. Sorry, Marcus. Was generally taken for this purpose. So it is, in essence, Kaldor, and in defense of it, would this be able to help whatever it is that you're doing ritually?
Yeah, if I modify the ritual that he did, he wanted to do something to help concentrate and direct the flow of essence. But if I could use these to actually block it, if I place it at significant areas around this this valley, when we fell the beast, it may be able to help prevent its essence from dissipating and reforming somewhere else. We can keep it here, and there hopefully fully exorcise it from this land.
Okay. I'll go get those. You find out where the spots are. We'll send them towards you. Marcus, JP, let's talk. Let's talk strategy, placement, and we should be right by the evening. So I'm gonna drag specifically Tirala and Marcus to discuss where to be standing, in what particular way to move them, so the actual standing and placement.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Marcus's input of what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. Like, say he's a little older in age. Has he got a stiff right arm from previous battles? In which case we move to the side, so we can get the positioning right for. I'm going to set up in the long grass that if this goes poorly, that if they are going to attack en masse, that we have a defensive strategy which is going to involve making them parts of the battleground that the enemy can't see by raising them. So I'll give an example of we need to, you must be standing here, because if you look directly here and you'll see the shiny surface rays with the sun, the sun hits the eyes and everyone doing that, but then when they look back there's no one standing there. But if you move to the side, see, so if we can corral them here, moving them this way, we should be able to get the point being, by the time they decide to charge one of you, you're actually standing over there. And starts talking about the mirrors reflecting, having a planar of existence of this, reinforcing the structural idea and identity that, they're not over there, but this idea, this belief, it's deception, but only in the way of the same planars that land on top of each other. This is the same image repeated enough for it to have resonance. I listen to Arthur Shasta.
Cool. Are we good with preparations?
Yeah. Lord Wyatt and Jonathan are probably sitting off to the side.
I didn't actually specify that they came, but yeah, sure. Will make note that Marcus is very interested in your strategies. Make a mental note to talk to him. Useful in warfare.
What do you need me to do?
You seem concerned about the sanctity of what's underneath. I'm not sure whether it can be used or not. I think what we need is, if something happens, we need someone to be able to provide cover, someone moving around the edges, to be able to help Arthur Shasta and him if we're using sorcery. I don't know what the plan is. Regarding what Arthur Shasta does, it sounds like it's going to be an on-the-fly. What can we do?
May I make a suggestion then? In our acts, when somebody falls, there's something to catch them, correct?
Yes.
Perhaps we should set up some places where I can throw people to, they can be caught, and then taken away from the battlefield if they are injured. Much like I did with Miss Sarah, but with more preparation and people on hand to ensure their escape, so those able, if need to, confide to know that their comrades are safer.
Fantastic idea. And we could probably use
some
this
wagons and some netting and stuff, but I think it can be done, huh?
Oh,
Okay.
we'll have a job. We'll have a mission.
So these preparations take you several hours. And there comes a point where you can't possibly prepare anymore. Not because you're done. You could always have done more. But because, like, time is short, and, you know, to really perfect this stratagem would take a much longer time than you have. And so you naturally come to this point where there's not much more you can do. You still have several hours before the battle itself is going to start, which is meant to start, which is after sundown. Which leaves us with the question of Marcus, Phoebus, Jonas, and Lady Pandea Tide. Jonathan, not Jonas. Jonathan, not Jonas. Just to clarify though, no one has actually approached Jonas about helping?
That's right.
Okay.
You mean you didn't take up on that? I told you I'm okay with you doing that, but in character trial would be like, nope.
We got your back, JP.
Right there with you. Nope. Clearly evil. As
Personally,
like
I think I burned a bridge with him last night.
Are you telling
by
Uncle
plowing
about
troubled
it?
water. As the sun starts to set, you'll start seeing members of the Excelsior done up with the like the skeletal face paint. It's not yet glowing like the foxfire, but you can see the paint. Some of them with the haggard hair and clothing. They are dressed up like the dead. It's just kind of like hello, way to and make their way to just kind of bloop, down in the long grass. They are hidden. I'm going to have a battle group in here.
Oh, right, yes. We did discuss that, yes.
1,100 people are coming. They are hidden. And all look like ghosts.
I'll need you to...
I know. Okay.
So... In front of the stone, the henge, Marcus, Jonathan, Gaseous Hand, whoever else wanted to be present, gathered around some of Jonathan's candles that he had and produced and made ready as through Athrashasta's direction yesterday.
It's cutting out a little bit again. I'm not the only one hearing that, right? Okay.
Okay. So you're gathered at the henge before, at the process of sundown. and you're preparing to do some kind of prayer, ritual, beckoning, something to get the attention of Lady Pandea Tydeus. Because Geisha's Hand and Kalis. Yes, Kalis?
Are we also going to try and get Ghana Senon's? Yeah, so I'll ask JP if she wouldn't mind cooking up a various assortment of foods and like treats to offer up to Ghana Senon.
Yeah, she can do that with the. That's
And I'll
what
be able to.
basically act as a resources thing to act as sacrifice.
Yeah, effectively. I'll build a half fire as well. Prepare for that ceremony.
Oh. That familiar spicy smoke seems to billow out from the incense of the fire you've built. Mingles with the scent of the bubbling stew, and whenever he appears in this cloud of smoke, it always makes you feel at ease. Makes you feel full. Makes you feel satiated. And so he answers your call. I won't bother making you roll for a prayer. He answers your call and appears from the mists. Jonathan and Alexander like drop to their knees, bow.
Tarala gives a very polite bow, but not in the same, more like I'm not of this land, but I do respect you, that sort of thing.
Kalis will do the greeting dance as a sign of respect that he did previously to Ghana Senon.
Arthur Strasser gives him a nod befitting an equal.
Yeah, we're both just like, g'day, mate.
Creature of darkness and creature of darkness. All I'm come, Gary.
My thanks for coming. We are here to talk of matters of the realm of the spirits, and I know that things have been happening that you have, my understanding, been keeping watch over. So we thought we, and he shows the offerings, invite you to do so in the open as us who have been perhaps touched by the spirits and wish to beseech the spirit of Lady Pandea are gathered here, and we thought that you may offer some guidance in what is happening. I don't understand the mists and how they bring people to the brink of life and death, but and what this has any ramification for yourself as a spirit or the spirit gatherings, the tribes, the courts, or whatever. Forgive me, I do not know your words for what or how they work exactly. I just know they are things to be respected, and you may be able to offer some guidance, if not directly informing us about such matters. At the very least, you can have this fine food that we have prepared and some good company, huh?
Sticks his ladle in stew and takes a great big slurp. Did you want to know?
What is Lady Pandea? She seemed to becoming something more than normal spirit. Like it doesn't seem like the ghost. It seems different somehow.
Yeah. Yes. No. He's a ghost. Powerful one. Supported by her people, culture, society. Yeah, Rule, it is not impossible for one to find a greater station through such occurrences, but they require a little push.
Now, would this push be well received given the departure of Formica? I'm not quite sure if a god can truly disappear, but it seemed very much like a closing of a story and perhaps an opening of a new one.
What do you mean?
I think Formica may have gone from this realm. I'm not entirely sure.
And what makes you think that?
She disappeared in front of my eyes. I'm having trouble recalling exactly what happened narratively out of character. It seemed like she disappeared in like a burning up essence or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yes. She. I'm sure Afishasa would probably be able to explain what happened better than me, but she seemed to burn up in her essence and fade from this world.
Yeah.
I assumed you would know, as you are. God, my apologies. I do not know what what knowledge you know and what you do not. It's.
Read intentions. Read intentions.
Is he holding his head, like hand on his head?
Yes. Sorry, that was me acting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was like you with my like bumbling explanation of what was happening and like.
No.
No, it's looking like he's upset. Is he applying any guile to this?
Yes, he is.
Okay, I'm going to roll the 6 dice. I'm going to pump 2 extra.
It's the look of a frog god who realized my job just got much more complicated, and the amount of paperwork I'm going to fill out is yay tall.
While Han's doing that, Kalis will go. No, I assure you, I didn't harm her or anything. I'm not. I don't believe I was responsible for this.
Better not have been.
Mm-hmm.
Go. You say, sorry, you're sitting adding?
5 dice plus, I'll add 3 modes.
I'm also going to do a read intentions. Same pool, 5 dice, but I'm buying 2 successes with a socialize excellency.
That's a 7, and that is a 3. You. So, like, when you do a read intentions roll, you either guess at an intimacy, and you get to know, or not know, or you ask for their motivation for this. Which is it?
Ask for the motivation.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly trying to terminate intimacy, like if he has any negative intimacy towards us because of, I don't know, a certain someone.
He does not have a negative intimacy towards you as a group, no.
Okay.
And You get the feeling that he is. You've seen that look before. That's the look that Ilva gives when you come in and tell her that you have been proactive and made a really good market. That's the assessing all of the options, how to best mitigate the damages and reduce collateral as far as possible. He may not necessarily have any personal investiture in Formica doing what she did, but it certainly causes him a great deal of trouble that he's now going to have to fix and explain.
Perhaps you can see why your guidance may be warranted in this very unusual set of circumstances. I wouldn't want to make things worse for Caldor or cause any disruption to the spirits of this world.
Yeah, such things are usually not possible without the direct authority of the highest seat from Yushan. She has engaged in this activity and has been successful. I can only assume that I've got permission that I am not privy to. Or she is a thief.
Sorry, what was that? Or she...
Or she is a thief.
So I guess now comes a philosophy question of, let's say she is a thief, but her dying wish was to impart power unto a mortal that family she protected her, I can't say entire life, because gods have lived a very long time, haven't they? So
I do not know.
Someone whom she chose to care for, to the point that it seemed that the moment it seemed that there was hope is when she gave up, that she was hanging on while this realm was falling into, I can't say darkness, I'll say despair, but it's like ghosts. As a fellow god.
Okay, alright. I don't have the jurisdiction or authority to deal with this. However, if you can conceive of a way that me helping you benefits Shoof directly,
Oh.
then I will be impelled to take action.
Why on earth are the gods specifically helping Shoof and not Caldor?
I cannot answer that.
No. Looking to Jonathan, we clearly established you can. It's whether or not you should. Not pressing, just, clarity of action here. Just anyone mind? So, Shoof is here, which is directly related to here, which if you look in the grand basic scheme of thing, Caldor with the Vanahar and the realm and just starts basically saying, Caldor falls, and then he sets up as he's talking with the cards and spins them out and forms this little deck of cards. It's like, and then right about here is Caldor. Click. And as the Caldor slips out, but the rest of the cards just fall. Like, that's awesome, isn't it? Only missing Caldor. Only missing Tibarana. Only missing this. Just at the flick of the hand, it's like, there you go. Just a single little ace. Like, and there is Shoof. All by itself.
Kalis, sorry?
I would like to compose a music for Shoof that would inspire a great joy in its people and be a real boon to them.
You're so nice. I'm flat out saying.
I know, but we've got this good counterbalance, right? This is so like Hans and Kalis, good cop, bad cop. And I will start to play this song.
For those of you who don't remember, Shoof is the name of one of the nations who have sent a representative here. The representative's name was Miserly Weatherpage.
I would like to kick in perfect harmony technique, if I may. Mood in. Ooh. What can I remember? To remind me and the audience, what is Sheaf known for? It was like introduced, wasn't it? Like way back when.
It was. Shoof is known for neutrality and having no serviceable consumables produced in Shoof whatsoever.
Just to clarify, you said neutrality, right?
Neutrality, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm resisting the urge to make an obvious joke.
like no. When I say domestic product, I'm not referring to like money. I mean like they don't produce anything in Shoof.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna feel like Kalis has been around Ambassador Lotus a lot and probably talked about it, like her job as an ambassador off screen and on screen. So I'm going to perfect harmony tech, mood-inducing music. I'm going to create a music that will promote an environment for discourse, like negotiations, like to have discussions, like that kind of. Like a mood for a background for a forum of discourse to encourage the discussion of ideas without provoking hostility or that sort of, if I may.
You can create such a song. Do you mean like you're performing it now for him?
Yeah, I am performing it now for him. So that's two mates for the perfect harmony technique. I think another one for, oh gosh, what it's called, masterful performance exercise.
Sorry, weird question. What are you trying to achieve with this song?
Okay, so the idea is, like he said, if there was any benefit to like Shoof, that he'd get involved, right? So I'm going to create a song that's so beneficial to the his perceived ideals of Shoof, that this song would be a boon if it was in existence in that nation, that it would be something that people could rally behind, reinforce the ideas of Shoof, much like a national anthem does. And he's going to create that. And the idea is that with this song creation, Kalis is the only one that can play it, and the only way that Shoof will be able to get this, so it would be beneficial for Karma Condescendent to help Kalis, so he can deliver this song to the people of Shoof at some stage. They're a benefit that would directly benefit Shoof. Or is that just crazy logic? I don't know.
It's a bit crazy, but we'll go with it.
There you go. That's exactly how Kalis fixed the problem when he's cunning. But nice cunning. It's not like, it's just using what he's got with him. So I assume I can do a performance role for this, like crafting and playing the song.
Well, what you would be doing is trying to convince him that it is of.
Yeah.
Like it would be a persuade action, essentially.
Performance, yeah. So yeah. Christmas performance. Ooh. Do you know if listener's swaying argument can be used outside the presence tree for because it says it can supplement and instill persuade action, but does it have to be presence related?
If it's a supplemental thing and it's part of that ability, it has to supplement a roll of that ability.
Okay, fantastic.
Unless the charm says otherwise, like harmonious presence.
Yeah.
So,
It does. Fantastic. So yeah, I'm just going to get my flute out and start playing this song. I'm going to kick in some notes. And... I'll calculate the dice pool for you, Elk. I'm gonna max out the dice cap, so I get 3 from Harmony's Presence. I'm using Charisma plus Performance. Would Showmanship apply to this, my speciality?
Yes.
Fantastic, cool. 4 plus
That's
the
cool.
flute is... Sorry. Could somebody fill the time while I concentrate? So I'm not so self-conscious with me adding up, folks. Sorry, I'm dyslexic, so it's I feel a little bit under pressure. So if somebody would like distract the others while I'm doing this, it would be greatly appreciated.
So, Gamakama Sen watches this act with the cards with interest, but like big interest. There's a word for big interest. Fascinate? No, not fascination. Like, well, yes, yeah, I guess.
And just as the song starts, right, this isn't a, if you don't help us, we're gonna be alone. It's a, we plan on fighting here and like to walk out of it alive, because if we do, we're no doubt going to be moving on. I've never been to Shuf. Neither is, and just point out, neither is Kalis. Neither is Arthur Shasta. If Shuf perhaps has any lot of problems, Eldor sounds like it'll be on our way.
Are you suggesting bargaining with?
I'm suggesting that us not dying is a boon to Shuf. That is the limit of what I am actually. Like, just if you want to gamble, like I'm up for it, but they'll kill me after the last time.
So, like, Guru, sorry, yes, Kaylin?
14 dice plus an automatic success. And any stunt dice. I didn't really sort of explain it, but I don't want to slow things down, so just...
8 successes.
Reroll ones as well. D2. Where, if that's applicable.
9 successes!
9 successes! Wait, yeah, 9 successes.
Is that including the automatic success?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Excellent. Ooh, okay, sorry. And also double 9s. But, sorry, Alk. I'm like, 'cause Perfect Harmony does double 9s. I keep on forgetting.
I've already lost the roll. I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries, dude. I mean, that's a lot of successes anyway. Sorry, folks. I get a little bit flabbergasted at times with numbers and stuff.
So, as this scene is progressing, Gamakama Sen is trying to express to Sagacious Hand that there are certain things that he can say and certain things that he can't say, and he certainly can't tell you what to do to, make him help you. But you would do through this back and forward whilst Kalis is starting up this song and singing and dancing. It's getting a bit. For him, he's getting a bit overwhelmed with both sources. And eventually he just throws up his hands and says, all right, okay, all right, stop. All right, stop. All right, okay. I would need a promise from you that you would, after the events here, make your way to Shuf to help deal with any internal or external problems it may be facing. And that points at Kalis. That I'll need that too.
Are you meaning every problem faced by all its tribe, or are you having some specific problems in mind? I do not wish to remain in Shuf my whole life fixing problems that will crop up. I mean, we should probably be clear about, as clear as we can be in these things. I do not wish to mean disrespect. I'm sure Shuf is a wonderful place, but I do not believe that will be where my journey ends. Or at least I hope not. You can never see these things. Like, I may die in Shuf, I may die tomorrow if without help. Hopefully you understand what I mean by this.
Would there be some other way that you could ensure that my assistance to you today guarantees prosperity of Shuth hitherto and beyond?
Oh, dude, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Oh, man. Do you want out of that?
I cannot answer that question.
Yeah, alright. Blink twice. Okay. Garu.
Gamakana-Senin, we have been sent here by a powerful exigent who is able to discern truths and visions from creation itself. He pointed us to this place to stop it from collapsing, because if it does so, Vanahar will invade. Do you know, any time a giant, rapacious empire spills across its borders into other lands and just like stops at the first one? Is the truth just right over there? Wouldn't, I don't know, it benefit your country that you are trying to make sure is nothing bad happens to it, that a hungry, mobilized and motivated fighting force doesn't just start annexing territory right next door?
Well,
And if I needed to verify the veracity of this, I could speak with
Unseen Brute of Lambert Heights?
an unsure root of the
yeah,
first question. As soon as you say his name, Gamakana-Senin shuts up, thinks for a moment, nods. That would be sufficient.
just to clarify, is talking to him? Or the problem?
As in, having Brute vouch for the idea that if Caldor falls, Vanahar will do this thing, and therefore Shift suffers, is enough for him to go, okay, well, that's something I can go on.
Alright.
Kalis will give Arthur Shasta a approving glance, respect growing in his eyes.
And who knows, in the future this may serve as the basis and foundation for a potentially ongoing defensive pact between the nations. Just something to consider.
If I'm to understand what you have described, Formica has utilized the flame of the exigent, distill her form such that can grant her chosen power pass on. Many gods who do not so. So if we want to instill this, as I understand Marcus, like Alexander, has been bewitched by sorcery, which makes him incompatible with this power, thus making it unable to be passed on. I will need 4 hours, a very large pot, the best stew you can muster, and Alexander.
I think we can provide that.
Good. let's get it done.
Right.
I would like to point out, as your GM, that this will invalidate Alexander Marcus from battle. He won't be present for when it starts.
I was gonna say 4 hours.
But it seems like it's gonna get the thing out of his soul, which I think is the bigger hurdle.
Okay.
Do we want to ask him what he thinks?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of one in here. He kind of gets to make the decision. Bunch of eggs, bunch of anathema and a dragon blood just being like, oh yeah, we'll decide what's right for this mortal. Well.
And
He's now Alexander Marcus is hearing all this. Like, I think he's heard little bits and pieces. So it's like, ask him. You know, when it's like, you know, we need to. He's being bewitched. I'm like,
and then there's also the other soul. What will happen to that? We don't wish to see it come to harm.
I couldn't harm anything even if I wanted to. Not in my nature.
what is your nature?
He says an old realm term. And it's the best way he can describe it. But if you don't speak or understand old realm, you won't understand it. I think Arthur Shasta, are you the only one here who speaks old realm? Does anybody else speak old realm?
I speak dragon tongue. Half old realm.
Not sufficient. In fact, that would make it harder to understand.
Fish whiskers.
So Arthur Shasta, it's a single like term, but like the best way to explain it would be like, that feeling of fulfillment you get when you are able to take a moment to enjoy your specifically your mother's best cooking after a long drought of never having access to it.
Okay.
He is a god of fulfillment and healing.
I like this guy.
Okay, so this will take some time. We can skip the setup. Those guys get exited. Which means that after the sun fully sets, you need to set up and prepare for battle for when the armies are up. Yes, Kalis?
Just one quick thing. Would it be possible just to get an indication of which way we should push Lady Pandea? Whether she should be like continue her ascension, or whether it would be a bad thing if she did. Like you said.
Yeah, I'm a
like,
little lost as to
push.
what's going on with what seems to be decided.
He's going to help heal the issue of Alexander Marcus such that he can receive the exigence.
Okay.
He has no power over Lady Pandea.
Okay.
And so the inference would be, if this gets fixed, then she has a pretty good chance of, you know, going one way or the other, rather than just being stuck.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I trust in God, I can't understand him. I quite like him.
So, is there anything before the battle starts that you want to do, want to make sure you've got settled, that you want to establish?
The escape carts would be great to be set up. I would like to also potentially say my goodbyes to Ambassador Lotus. We don't have to do it on the screen, just know that. And then I think that's it for Kalis. Maybe grab some honey one last time.
So I was going to take a moment alone with hand for like see things and just be like, you know, just her and him. and he's gonna say, "Are you all right?" Because earlier, that was once again in the weird.
Alexander Marcus. If his son was beside him, I know that he would care more for the life of Jonathan than for what would happen to him. I know if you fell, you'd be a regrettable loss. I don't particularly want to be out here, I don't particularly. But if this is where you are, then I'm standing beside you. Slightly to the left and a few feet back, but I am standing beside you. I can't fight the battles that I know you're going. I'm not going to leave you alone.
You still feel guilty, don't you?
More recognizing of law. I honestly go through most of my life very much analyzing every action I take as I'm taking it. I'm not lying to anyone, I'm not necessarily being insincere, but there are times when if I think something, if I react instead of responding, then things will happen as I perhaps instinctively had wanted them to happen. And I don't know if I'm always a nut. You know those moments where, you know, just for instance, a young kid starts to make threatening motions towards a girl that you didn't quite realize you liked, and then you get that sudden urge to want to drop kick them out the window. That feeling is, as I said, kind of overwhelming, and I didn't realize I liked Sarah. Realizing that, and realizing that spark of not it. I don't think it was meanness. At least I hope it wasn't in me. But I felt protective, and rather than dwelling on the fact of I was hurt, I have turned it around into making something of realizing that I needed to speak. Realizing in all of these moments when something happens to stop, take it on board, and react in a way that should react. Respond, not react. So I'm this careful because there are times where I don't know what I'm doing. There are times I don't remember things I have done. The worst it's ever been here in Caldor. And no one's really mentioned it. I have a very vivid memory of breaking down after something has hit my shoulder, and you were there for me, and so was Sarah, and so was Arthur, and then nothing's been really said about it again since. I have never in my life broken down in public like that. And it scared me, and it spiraled worse, and I've been trying to be quiet and think and plan, or just react instead of responding, because maybe this is it. Truthfully, maybe I've gone mad and this is my last days. If that's true, there's nothing that can be done. And so, if nothing matters, then all that matters is what I do. What I want to do is look after you. To be there for you, whatever way you would need. It's not guilt. Being the person I want to be, and hands on brother's shoulders, and I want to be there for you.
She, Tarala gives Hand a big hug, but also says, you know, I got mad earlier about the thing, but I know it wasn't your intention. It wasn't your, it was we had a plan. We followed through, and I remember I made the choice. I know this has been crazy for you, and I'm not mad at you anymore. I that fire's out. It's you made a mistake, and you know what? You gotta pick yourself up, keep on, and live to make many more. My dad wasn't perfect, but I don't think any of us really are. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not mad at you. I forgive you for what happened earlier. So you've got this whole idea that you need to be there and protect me, like I'm some fragile thing. I mean, thank you, but at the same time, if you got hurt doing something just simply to protect me, like in this, because I know fighting is not your thing, I would feel guilty. So
I'm not doing this because I think you're fragile. Actually, the complete opposite. Not you I'm worried about. As awful as that sounds, it's me. If something happens to you, I will be devastated. I know you can handle it. It's not a question. And as the frustration, have I told you about my father? He was an amazing man. He taught me everything he knew. He had this fire and this passion, and there was this one time in which he wanted to try something that was bigger than what he had done before, and that's how I lost my father. Not he died, but it's still 25-ish years later, it's still a case of loss, because I never got closure. I never got a body. I never got to say goodbye. I was waiting on the edge of a levee bank for him to come back up. And so I see you. You've lost everyone that you grew up with, cared about. I don't want you on your own. I did that. I've been on my own since I was 10. I've never been lonely. I've really been alone, but it's been just me. My dad made one mistake. I wasn't there. I couldn't help. So the one time that I messed up there, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say other than, you know what? This is an awful situation. No, I don't particularly want to fight. I'm still there. I am not as breakable as you perhaps saw Kayla seems to think, cause ouch. I don't want you in danger, but I'm not going to be able to stop that. Your life is above this. And so if you're going to be forging great battle stories, great legends, and, you know, have the Joker by your side, it's not guilt. I don't want you. Promised you'd stay, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if it helps, I'm just selfishly holding you to that. Fair
enough. I just wanted to be sure. I wanted to be sure that you didn't... I didn't drive you to feeling guilty about this.
I love you. Every person I have in my life has been a colleague, everyone, whether they mean to or not, they leave. And you will one day. Say you're not. Give it a year, 5. See if that princess thing works out for you.
She gives a slight chuckle at the whole see if that princess thing works out. And it's like, I mean, I'd rather you be there when I'm trying to figure that one out. But
The deal.
yeah.
Don't set me on fire in the meantime, yeah?
All right, yeah, I think I can handle that one. Worst case scenario, in the event that you do get caught on fire, stop. I think Dad taught me hit the floor and roll around.
I think I did that last night, so yeah, I'm down with that. Jump onto the back of the horse. Alright. Who we got going? To this battle, if Alexander Master is gone, is it just us two riding in on a horse? Is it?
Guys, is Johan with us? I know Kayla's was setting up a crevasse trap thing, right?
I think we scrapped that because milk is very hard to build traps in.
It's hard to dig through liquid.
Apparently so, folks. So it's whether Arthur Shasta wants to take, Johan wants to take that last plot, or whether Kalis will be fighting beside you. I'm happy with either. I'm happy to let Arthur Shasta show off his martial prowess, or I'm happy to, stand by my friends.
I do have supernatural kung fu.
That you do.
You're really big.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
Spooky music.
The cold of the night air whips about you and bites harder for you. The wind passing through the valley, pulling hard against the tall grasses in long bursts, as each gust rolls down through from the mountains several miles to the east. The moon tonight seems to be hiding her face, and even the stars seem dim from your vantage. Only the torches you have staked into the ground provide any light here, and large black shadows play across the area. Your breath mists before your face, and had been for the last few hours of waiting, but as the crackle of the torches begins to sound music from the unceasing repetition, the frost deepens around your breath, and it falls into your open hand like flakes of snow. The air around you seems to whisper an unintelligible susurrus of voices, and the tree line across the valley deepens its blacker shadows even as the white husks of the forest trees glow with an ethereal luminescence. The vision, scores of soldiers fade into view through the gloom. Their movements are soundless voids. A canker of purple miasma bubbles forth in pursuit, spilling out into the valley, and all at once things seem. The forms of the soldiers seem to shift randomly between 100 different personas. The cloud they move through proving an inadequate boundary as they clip and vanish at parts its end. They are nothing but images now. Illusions idling through the bulk of a creature not of this world and alien even to the dark beyond. What had once been a jumbled triumvirate of mighty generals has grown fat and bloated of the essence of their fellows. It hefts its bulk out from the trees and lurches forwards in fitted siege, the cacophony of their confused voices coming louder to your ears, drowning out thought. Alexander's hand finds his... Sorry, no, Alexander's not there. Ignore that. Jonathan retches at the sight, stumbling with his own weapon and not quite managing to ready himself. And I had some other things there, but all those people have been exited, so like, I'll just not read those.
The deal was 3. 3 souls versus 3 souls. Screen.
The whispering in your ears grows not louder but more focused. The randomness of thousands of different voices start to finally coalesce into one single long message. Not long message. Solid message. We are no one. We are everyone. Yep.
Where are they standing at this point? Like,
It's just
what
billing out in...
What the big giant thing standing is.
It's not a big thing standing. It's got no like central point. It's just this giant purple miasma of thousands of ghosts sort of milling about, flickering randomly. Like, you know those horror movies with the static images going like a whole valley full of them.
I'm asking, are they in the in that wonderful area with the misty water and everything? The
Yes, they've descended out into the battlefield.
Terrell might be like, hand, I'm gonna ask you something, and I know we just talked about this, but I'm gonna say you get Jonathan. She looks behind her.
Gonna need a lot more salt.
I actually don't know how far you're gonna want to get. Just a and duck is what you're going to do.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay, so we have... This is at long range? To where we are? Or is it like short range now?
It will be the range of plot.
It's a range of plot.
It takes up a lot. It is, for all intents and purposes, legendary size. It takes up an enormous area. It takes up the whole valley.
I'm like now I'm making I don't know if it's fairly obvious what I'm about to do.
Yeah,
I can guess.
It's very obvious.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to...
This was originally Plan Z.
I'm gonna yell out for Kalis to tip the seating area where they are, to tip over that wooden log to form cover, and like for Kalis to try and materialize them. I've seen able to materialize ghosts before. See if we can stop them moving at the out of, or you know, like Kalis, make it so we can see them.
Okay, Kalis looks across the unholy host. I'm just going to check. I think my anima power does affect these spirits. Is that correct, Elk? It's all spirits that it covers? Unless these are an
I
exception.
think we've got incoming. Yes, it does. They are a spirit. You can demand that they become material. It is, however, a persuade roll.
It is indeed.
But you're good at those.
Yeah.
And don't you have like your essence and non-charm successes with that because of your anima?
I do. I get one automatic success. Here
They're also impelled
Sorry,
as if possessing and defining intimacy. And there's a lot of math going on in the background there, and I can shortcut it really quickly by saying there's no way you can lose.
Oh no! I mean, oh yes!
There's no way I can lose. Did you say?
As in, you can't not, like, if you want to activate your power, it will just work. They can't resist.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I don't know that, so I was gonna like go full on with like burning moat. So I'll just calculate
Okay.
what I was going to do. Hey, 7 moats. I don't really want to flare my banner barrier, so there will be limitations. I assume we've like regained our moats and like rest from like the night before as well, so we should be like good.
From the night before, but anything you spent during the
You said it was
surveying?
4 hours, so
Sorry?
I assume we've had at least 4 hours. Is that correct? Because it said it would take 4 hours for him to prepare.
From when you did the... Okay, so most people would be, I think, full, except that Kayla spent a whole bunch of moats doing his dance.
Yeah, that's 4 moats.
And that... Okay, well, 4 moats. And that happened like 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so, okay, I didn't get back, okay. Sorry, I thought there was like a 4-hour time gap between that. That's good to know. So that's 7 moats. Okay, in which case, probably just kick in. Sorry, I'm slowing down play, just continue on. We'll assume it's successful. I'm just count how much I've spent.
So Kalos bellows out. His voice crosses the valley with
I'm
a...
ready.
Go for it.
Abomination. Sorry, I'm gonna probably lose the Kalos accent when I like project, but
Right.
abomination you are. Abhorrent to creation and all that life stands for. Be fettered in creation's world, pass through the veil and face retribution for the crimes you have committed in Kaldor. We will be the ones that seal your fate and usher you back into the recycle of creation where you belong. May your past deeds be wiped clean through future deeds, and a chance of redemption be able to be claimed. I, Kalis, Kodan, Shaman, and Champion of Kaldor, demand you. And his words trail off as he forces essence in, a spark of light coming through his vocal cords as the power of the unconquered sun infuses him. Are we going to bother rolling, or it's like?
Will it benefit you in any way? As in, do you get something special if you roll something specific?
No. There's no like. There's no.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Don't worry. Don't bother rolling.
Cool.
Yeah. So Kalus's words bellow out across the span of the of the valley, because it's a valley. Echoes out across the valley. The ghosts starting to sort of. They were flickering, uneasy images now as they sort of just take long, deep breaths in, suddenly filled with this ghastly light. Breathe in the miasma and settle down into the ground underneath. A mass of wretched, stretched plasm just bursts up from the middle of the battlefield. Long, drawn out, gaping, screaming faces playing across its side. There's a mass of long tendrils erupt up from around it, bursting from the ground, peeling off from its middle and head as its form starts to billow out even further, and then again reform over. And it doesn't waste a moment in battle.
I was actually going to say, as soon as Kalis had finished speaking, I was waiting for you to do that. That would be when Tarala spends a moat.
What's
A
that for?
single moat to ignite everything. Basically, massive demolition.
You will
'Cause,
need to roll joint battle. Get in
Okay,
before it.
that's fine.
This is the... Now, this is weird. This is a creature I kind of half designed, like, ages ago, like, because when I made this campaign super ages ago. But since then, they've actually released a creature that is basically this. So I'm just using that now. And it has a joint battle of 5. Ooh, that's terrible.
Nice.
I have a joint battle of 9, and I'm actually spending 5 moats because I can to make that what you call 14 plus any for the stuns of getting how we had prepped or anything, if there is any stuns for preparing the others to get away. I don't know if that counts or anything.
Point.
All right, so that's a total of 16 dice.
Any tricks?
Pardon?
Any tricks?
No, there's no tricks. The awareness excellency is simply you can do dice or successes.
Cool. You are at initiative 10.
Nice.
Wait.
Anyone else joining the fray?
Yes. I will be finding battle feint, and that is 10 dice. I'm going to use my from preparing the battleground earlier. I've got I add to my stealth roll, so I had 12 successes. So I'd like to all of them on this roll, like for as many. Like it's 2 for 1, I think, so I can buy 5. Is that right? Or buy? If I had.
Wait, so you have like 12 banked
dice.
successes?
Yep.
And you must spend them all on one action?
Yep.
Okay, and you can spend up to your dice cap. Your natural pool is 10. Do you have a specialty?
In specialty in stealth, misdirection. Yes. Absolutely, it applies.
So that's
I'm not
11 dice,
hiding,
5
I'm going
successes.
for it.
Damn. Or 9.
I would like to re-roll using the shadow. I've got a stealth charm that allows me to re-roll, but I get to keep the 10s. So I'll keep those 4,
Okay.
and I am going to... Hang on, just checking. The charm is called Perfect Shadow Stillness, so...
Yep, you keep the 10s and reroll.
Yeah.
Four, 5, 6, plus 5 is 11, plus 3, initiative 14.
Ooh!
Anyone else?
Going to have Shadow roll into battle group with the 1,000 troops that are around with the mirrors.
Are you stepping forward for the duel off shot, or am I?
You should.
Okay, in
I'll
which case.
point out, at this point, it's no longer a duel.
So it's a free for
This
all.
is not like
Okay.
aware of that, so he's looking to see if I like after Shasta is like looking like to prepare himself for combat.
So who's rolling?
So, I mean, out of character, would Arthur Shasta be aware that it's technically violated the terms of their agreement? Or would he still be under the belief that they are bound by the oath?
They have broken the agreement.
Okay, well, first can you roll me 9 dice? Because I'm commanding Johan to begin his immolation plan.
Ooh!
1 success.
What?
Okay, well, then Johan gets to roll 6 dice for join battle, Arthur Shasta gets 5.
Bayless?
Yeah, I would like to do some actions, but I'm still under the... because I don't really know how this safe work stuff, so I won't be considering power, but I will be doing some actions if I can. Do you need me to roll a joint battle roll for the speed in which I act, or...?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That would be 6 dice plus 4 from my excellency I'm applying.
Any tricks?
So 10 in total.
That's 4 successes.
Wow.
Not very nice dice for this.
That's, hang on, so 4, 5, 6, 7. Initiative. Okay, so at the top of the order we have... At the top of the order we have Sagacious Hand at 14. Followed by Tarala at 10. Aylis at 7. Johan at 6. Everyone else at 5. Sagacious Hand.
Hey, what are the benefits of me delaying an action?
You get to choose when to take your action, but it costs you 2 initiative.
Okay. I have defense chance. I'm gonna ask Kel, should I activate my defense ones for us standing here in the circle, or just wait to act at the same time?
I mean, if you want to add, like, this is a scene length one, right?
No, this protection would be a round. What I am thinking of doing is you're going to set things on fire. How about I wait around, grab hold of you, and like leap into the air, because Karanthar is fireproof, take you directly up. Yep. So I'm going to take a wait action, sacrificing those 2. The 2 initiative.
Okay. Rala.
Alright, so again, my plan was, and so I'm going to activate my anima power for this, which 5 motes personal, makes me immune to fire for the, or no, but we'll go with peripheral because that at least lets me glowing, but it makes me immune to fire for the scene, like mundane fires. Magical, like, you know, specifically attacks against me fire, that didn't hurt me, but I get a massive soak boost.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan is to ignite the methane mist, basically create a massive explosion. Possibly, I don't know if that would be enough to destroy any foundation beneath or anything. Maybe. If not, at least a massive environmental hazard on this thing, because it's manifest right now, so it takes damage from it.
Sagacious Hand wraps his arm, like, as the thing has come into sight and Tarala has moved her head, like, there's this flickers as he swiftly moves down, up, and his arm grabs her safely, and you feel that push as Sagacious Hand raises them both up using, I forget what it's called, monkey leap technique. I'm going to just go vertically up an entire range band, and you feel the feel of silk and softness in this bright, the quick shimmer of white. It's as if a cloud has just moved its way around you, and suddenly you are moving upward, wearing that long cape that you saw Sagacious Hand wearing days ago, as he has activating my evocation for my artifact, which is Wreath of Compassion's Embrace. So everyone within close range of me, I'm going to doing a full, like, I'm taking full defense and defend other, and supplementally, like my movement action, taking you leaping up into the air.
Staying in the air?
Nice.
The gliding one to slowly fall to the ground without.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey.
Do you need to roll for any of that? I don't think you do.
No, no.
Well, I'm giving you a 2 point.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I think you feel like a willpower.
I can get over willpower though, right?
No, not with a 2.
No. Oh.
It has to be 3 dice done.
No, with a 2 dice, with a 2 or 3 point stun, you can get over your maximum willpower.
Yeah. So with this moving around you, this is going to be any attacks launched from outside of this range band. Hang on. It counts as difficult terrain if another opponent or ally attempts to cross the border. Any attack made against anyone within that range band suffers a -2 dice penalty for vision. And you must exceed the Exalted parry as if they had declared defend other action. But anyway. Yeah. Directly up. Corella is setting fire to things.
I can't imagine it's going to be hard to set fire to this thing. Kel, could you please describe this series of minor explosions of roaring fire that erupts from this?
Alright, so basically, for brief moments, Rala's full, brief moment, like, even hand feels like just in sudden heat, like, as her totem flickers in and out, spreading over towards the grass, towards this mist of methane and everything, and all of a sudden you just hear a boom, 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 as all the pockets start erupting, like mushroom clouds of flame, and like just there is, if there was ever any life there, it's gone now. New life will sprout, but it's gone now.
Get wrecked!
Almost like
Okay,
a
so-
phoenix is flying over the battlefield.
One moment. Actually do too badly. So this blackness of night just suddenly splits apart, a bright white flash in your vision, that searing light sort of hanging in your vision for moments afterward, as the ground just sort of erupts in small gouts of flame and then begins to smolder and burn. Everything around you is immediately thrown into stark relief. You can't even see the stars anymore. The light around you is just too bright. The heat is suffocating as this black, acrid, billowy smoke just starts to issue forth and rise up high into the sky. The creature, for that's all it can be called at this point, screams in that sort of that cacophony of a thousand voices, tries to sort of tear itself out of the field away from the flames. You can see that it's backing away from the flames, but they don't seem to be actually like tearing apart, like tearing at its form. It's just afraid. It's squealing, screaming, pulling away from them. It's trying to surge forward up the hill towards where everyone else is standing. And in a flurry of movement and tendrils, one of those long tentacles that sit at its periphery launches forwards to Kalis. The closer it gets to him, the more it divides. So it's just this almost fractal whip of shadowy tendrils dancing forward. This is a decisive attack. Oh, well, not decisive. This is a what's a gambit technically against Kalis? Yes.
You're muted.
Sorry, you cut out. It's very hard to hear who this attack was aimed at.
Kalis.
You.
Me? Wow.
You said Kalis, I thought you were responding to Kalis, not it's aimed at Kalis. Like, it's aimed at yes, Kalis?
That's aimed at me, okay. Okay. Cool. It's
It will
attacking me
be-
from what distance? From range band, sorry? What's happening?
It's moving into close and attacking you.
Okay, so it's skipped my initiative phase, so like jumping over me in my preparations is higher than me.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I thought Kalis had 6.
No,
Okay.
Kalis has 7. Sorry, no, I miscounted. Sorry, Kalis. Actually, it's your action.
Okay, well, are the flames or any threat, is Jonathan here? What's Jonathan doing here?
Well, I yelled out for you to lift the thing and cover Jonathan, so you are behind a tree taking cover.
It would be one of the huge boulders, but yeah, because trees aren't really that fireproof, but be behind a boulder. I'm still I'm not really clear why Jonathan's here. Was the reason he's here?
I said you wanted to bring it.
We were going to have a meeting with Pendea, and that didn't really happen. So there was no family meeting. He kind of went off with Gama Kama Sen, and I'm like, oh, you're already here. Sit down? Question mark. Is Lord Wyatt here as well?
I assumed he would leave with his father. That was I wasn't sure. That was fine. He's hanging around.
You want him to have left with his father, he can. The only reason he was here is because you guys said you wanted him here.
No, I assume unless you want him here, hand. This seems very. I wouldn't want him to be anywhere near this battle, personally, but.
So Kalis' action?
Yeah. Sorry, the fire. Is it any where is it in regards to my location?
Were you standing in the marsh?
I was outside the dueling area. The safe
Then
difference.
you are not standing in the zone of the fire.
Okay, fantastic. Then I guess I'm watching the duel then? As it unfolds?
You do nothing?
I seem like I'm several range bands away just watching, so yeah.
How many are you?
Not several.
Yeah, the way I pictured it, I thought that you were at the lip of where the valley goes down.
There's a hill rise. As I mentioned, there's a hill rise and it dips down into the valley. So if you're watching, you need to be up on the hill. In which case,
Okay,
it's taking up all this area within.
Yep.
And you've just seen us go, blah!
Okay, cool. Yep, sure. I'll be guest on the hill watching then.
You're taking no action, or you're delaying.
I don't know.
Yeah, it would
how
be delayed.
effectively it works.
If you're doing
I'm
nothing.
a spectator. I'm not in the combat as yet. I think effectively I'm watching till I'm drawn in. I guess.
Yeah, but
I'm not
that
sure
okay.
how
So
it
mechanically, what that means is that you're present. You could be acting, but you're not, and so therefore you're losing momentum in the battle.
Okay,
That's
fine.
why I needed to know. It cost you 2 initiative to do nothing. Johan.
Okay.
Johan!
Alright, what's Johan's range from the creature?
Was it standing in the dueling ring, or was it standing on the hill? If it was standing on the hill, it is within short range.
Perfect. That's the best range. Sorry, just have to look the stats real quick. Yes, under the command and tactical guidance of Arthur Shasta, Johan will begin bellowing forth more flame, trying to cover parts of exposed flesh so it's entirely being immolated.
I'm sorry, I missed that. He's protecting you?
No, Arthur Shasta's commanding Johann to burn the creature more.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
wow.
Okay, sorry.
More fire.
More fire.
Yeah, when there's not enough, because there's not enough fire. I mean, I have a point where there's probably gonna be even more fire from Tarala.
Okay, so I suppose that's an attack. I'll give you 1 point stun.
Shows. Can you first make a 18 dice roll for Arthur Shasta commanding Johann?
Any dice tricks?
Just a lot of excellency.
8 successes.
Cool. Then Johann will make a 20 dice withering attack.
Tricks?
Nope.
Okay, so that's 11 successes against its defense currently of 4.
Then it will get to do 22 dice of raw damage before it's soaked.
22 dice of raw? Good.
Mm-hmm.
That is a whopping 12 initiative damage.
Whoa.
Was that was over 10? That was over 10 post soak. Because if
Was that
it's
Johann?
over 10
Oh, whoops.
post-soak dice.
Sorry.
Because if it's
Oh,
over
it's
10
been a while since I've done this.
dice,
What was your roll pull?
for
What was your roll pull?
legendary
Sorry,
size.
22 is
22.
12. It should be. Sorry, not 22. 12.
Oh,
It's sorry. I'm sorry. It's actually just it. Wow, that's
It's-
actually an even better roll. It's 9. Like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So that drops him to -4.
Oh.
Is shoots Johann to 15, and then the break for 20.
Nice. Yeah, that's the cool thing. If you get more than 10 post soak, that's a key thing for for legendary size. If it's not more than 10 post soak damage, it can't be crashed.
Wow.
What it
Which
is?
is why the
Wow.
dog that has a flamethrower mounted in his face is tanking instead of the guy with a whip.
Kalis.
Have I mentioned that I love Johann?
Oh wait, no. Kalis is delayed. Okay, so here we get something awkward. Where were all your people?
On the outer rim, not in the thing itself. So, unfortunately, because I thought it was, how it's like a ring of salt? Yeah, they're outside in the long grass, but it seems like that entire area is now on fire. Yep.
Okay.
Unless I can somehow retroactively be they're not on fire?
I had thought that they were rimming around. I wouldn't have done the moat thing. I thought that when you had them, you were placing them all around to encircle the edge of the thing, like the mirrors and stuff. Or
Yeah,
did you
let's
drop
say we
mirrors?
did that because I keep forgetting that there's mountains. So yes.
Yeah, I didn't think they were actually in the field. Like Tarala wouldn't have set a field on fire with people.
This isn't a field. You said something the size of a lake on fire.
I need to leave in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay, I
I
got
was
it.
supposed to have finished for Kel. I'm just trying to finish the round.
Okay.
All right, you know what? Let's discuss this off camera. So, thank you very much, everyone. We're going to end the session right there. We figure out the fate of Sagacious Hand's wonderful people who volunteered to come here and totally not get set on fire.
Yeah.
What will happen next time in Invictwitch? Find out. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.